The turquoise waters of the West Philippine Sea, once a symbol of peace and abundance, have now become a flashpoint for international tension and daily peril. On September 30th, 2025, a Philippine Coast Guard vessel, tasked with a routine resupply mission to the BRP Sierra Madre at Ayungin Shoal, finds itself suddenly surrounded by a formidable presence. Massive Chinese Coast Guard ships block its path, executing dangerous maneuvers and blaring horns, a calculated show of force that leaves no doubt about their intentions. Radio warnings fill the air, each side asserting its claim over these contested waters that, according to international law, have already been ruled in favor of the Philippines, yet remain fiercely disputed. For Filipino sailors, this is the new normal. Every mission is a gamble with real risks, where the line between routine and crisis blurs with each passing day. The Chinese ships, though not warships in name, act with open hostility, cutting across bows, ignoring maritime safety, and pushing the limits of provocation. This is intimidation by design, a relentless campaign meant to wear down Filipino resolve without ever firing a shot, testing patience and resolve. The psychological toll is immense. Every day is a test of nerves and courage, as sailors face the constant threat of escalation and the unknown. What began as a territorial dispute has now evolved into a daily struggle for survival and sovereignty, with each encounter carrying the weight of national pride. Diplomatic protests pile up in Manila, but on the water, the imbalance is stark. Courage and the rule of law stand against brute force and intimidation. Each tense encounter is more than just a standoff. It is a symbol of a larger geopolitical struggle, with the Philippines standing on the front line of a global contest. The world watches closely as Filipino sailors hold the line against a superpower's ambitions, their actions broadcast across international headlines and newsrooms. These daily clashes will determine not just the fate of these waters, but the strength and credibility of international law itself, setting a precedent for future generations. The stakes are high. Resource-rich seas, national pride, and the very future of the rules-based order in the region hang in the balance. The outcome here will echo far beyond the horizon, shaping the destiny of nations and the peace of the seas for years to come. The dangers for Filipino sailors are immediate and brutal. Every day they set out to sea knowing they may face violence or intimidation before they return home. China's water cannons slam into Philippine vessels, shattering windows, injuring crew, and damaging equipment. These attacks are sudden, forceful, and leave lasting scars, both physical and psychological. Fishermen in small wooden boats are especially vulnerable, driven from their traditional grounds and livelihoods. Many are forced to risk their lives just to provide for their families. Ramming and aggressive blocking by Chinese ships are constant threats, collisions that feel deliberate and life-threatening. Each encounter at sea is a test of courage and survival. The goal is clear: make these waters so hazardous that Filipinos abandon them out of fear, leaving their ancestral fishing grounds behind. For sailors, it's a battle of nerves. For fishermen, it's economic disaster. Catches dwindle, incomes plummet, and hope fades with every empty net. Coastal communities face growing poverty as families struggle to put food on the table and keep their children in school. This is more than a sovereignty dispute. It's an assault on ordinary Filipinos trying to make a living. The struggle touches every aspect of daily life. China's tactics aim to create helplessness, convincing the Philippines that resistance is futile. The sense of being outmatched is overwhelming. The psychological warfare is as damaging as the physical. National morale erodes, and the sense of security vanishes. Anxiety grows as the threat persists, with families fearing for loved ones at sea and communities uncertain about the future. The human cost is measured in lost income, damaged ships, broken dreams, and the daily struggle to survive. A nation's mounting uncertainty hangs heavy in the air as the people of the Philippines wonder what tomorrow will bring. China's gray zone warfare blurs the line between peace and conflict. The China Coast Guard and Maritime Militia, state-directed but not officially military, enforce Beijing's claims with plausible deniability. Blockades and cabbage strategy swarms cut off Philippine outposts, squeezing them out of their own waters. The aim: assert the 9-dash line, create new facts at sea, and test the U.S.-Philippines alliance, without triggering open war. Maritime militia disguised as fishing boats gather intelligence and swarm contested areas. The Coast Guard acts as enforcer, intimidating and harassing with size and numbers. This relentless pressure is a long-term war of attrition, chipping away at Philippine sovereignty. It's a calculated campaign to win control without firing a shot. The West Philippine Sea is more than a disputed territory. It's the lifeblood of the Filipino nation. Rich fishing grounds feed millions. Beneath the seabed lie vital oil and gas reserves. Losing these waters means surrendering natural wealth and future independence. Symbolically, these seas are woven into Filipino identity and heritage. Defending them is a matter of national pride and a test of sovereignty. The fight is for the birthright of future generations to ensure they benefit from their country's resources. This is a battle for intergenerational justice and the nation's soul. The courage of Filipino fishermen and sailors is a testament to national resilience. Their struggle will define the country's character for decades to come. Each confrontation at sea is a direct test of Philippine sovereignty. When Chinese ships block Philippine vessels, it's a physical rejection of the nation's authority in its own waters. China's campaign of attrition aims to exhaust the Philippines and break its resolve. Every successful mission by Filipino crews sends a message: the nation will not be intimidated. The world is watching. These clashes are a test of the international rules-based order. The Philippines anchors its position in international law, but China's defiance challenges global governance. Diplomatic protests have failed. Leaders now face a critical choice: persist or innovate. The stakes: permanent loss of territory, security, and economic future. Every day, the urgency grows. The nation's will is on the line. In Congress, a new and ambitious strategy is gaining ground, rejoining the International Criminal Court, or ICC, after years of absence. This move is being discussed with renewed urgency as tensions in the West Philippine Sea continue to escalate. Lawmakers argue that returning to the ICC could shift the fight from the contested waters to the powerful arena of international law, where global norms and justice take center stage. If China continues to ignore maritime law and international agreements, perhaps it can finally be held accountable under international criminal law, facing consequences beyond diplomatic protests. The ICC could provide the Philippines with a platform to frame China's actions as crimes against humanity, especially when civilians are harmed or displaced by ongoing maritime conflict. This marks a significant shift, from heated domestic debates to a broader focus on national security and foreign policy, highlighting the need for international support. Figures like Senator Hontiveros and Justice Carpio have become leading voices, championing the cause and seeing ICC membership as a real deterrent against Chinese officials who might otherwise act with impunity. The proposal reflects not only growing frustration but also a collective search for more effective, lasting ways to defend Philippine sovereignty and protect its people. For many, rejoining the ICC is now about securing the nation's future, strengthening its position on the world stage, and standing firm against a persistent external threat. ICC membership could transform the Philippines' approach to the West Philippine Sea. The Rome Statute allows prosecution of crimes against humanity, like the systematic displacement of Filipino fishermen. As an ICC member, the Philippines could file complaints against Chinese leaders orchestrating these campaigns. Arrest warrants for high-level officials would make them international pariahs, unable to travel freely. This personalizes the conflict, shifting it from state to individual accountability. Framing the dispute as a grave international crime could galvanize global support. Proving such crimes is complex, and China would resist, but the threat alone introduces new leverage. The ICC offers asymmetric power in a lopsided conflict. The Philippines has seen the limits of international law before. In 2016, it won a landmark ruling at The Hague, invalidating China's 9-dash line. But the victory was hollow. China ignored the ruling and escalated its activities. The lesson: legal wins without enforcement change little on the water. Skeptics of the ICC strategy warn it could be another toothless effort, as China is not an ICC member. Proponents counter that the ICC targets individuals, not states. Arrest warrants are enforced by over 100 member countries. Chinese officials would face personal risk if they travel abroad. The 2016 experience shows any new legal strategy must have teeth. The ICC could provide that missing enforcement mechanism. The lesson victory in court must translate to real-world consequences. The Philippines stands at a crossroads. Rejoining the ICC is more than a legal move, it will shape the nation's future. One path is economic pragmatism. China is the top trading partner, and antagonizing Beijing could bring retaliation. The other path is principled resistance, defending sovereignty, law, and human rights, even at economic risk. The debate touches on national identity. Will the Philippines prioritize stability or fight for its rights on the world stage? The world is watching. The decision will signal the country's resolve and values. Both paths carry consequences, and there are no easy answers. The choice will define the Marcos administration's legacy and the nation's trajectory. The stakes are urgent and high. The future of the Philippines hangs in the balance.